Hello everyone, I am Bam Bam Malicious, and today I am going to be going through, I wouldn't say a history lesson, but I'm going to play through all three European releases of Sega Rally. Now hopefully I won't run into video troubles. I did try and record this video earlier and the video just decided to focus solely on one corner of the Xbox. Once I got that far, so I'd played through the Saturn, I'd played through the Dreamcast, I got to the Xbox, and it didn't quite go to plan. So fingers crossed, we might be in for a better run this time. Now I'm going to play through 3 championships, 1 lap races, the arcade championships on the Saturn and the Dreamcast, and then I'll play through the first year of the Xbox's version. Sega Rally for me was probably my first foray into 3D racing. I know there were other games on the PC, especially such as Need for Speed and B-Rally, and there was I remember a very badly drawn F1 game on PC. I remember it quite well. In fact, it was terribly drawn. Every corner was a right angle, and it just depended on what speed you hit. Said right angle depended on whether you made the corner or not. But I'd spent quite a bit of time already by this point. I've been playing on the Mega Drive, I've been playing on the Master System, some family members had an NES and then later on a SNES, so I'd had good experience sort of on the 8-bit and the 16-bit era. But when the 32-bit era came, I remember we rented from Blockbuster, back before they went bust, we rented a PlayStation and a Sega Saturn. And obviously this was before the internet, this was before gaming journalism went completely wild. You had the odd magazine with reviewers, but they were hard to come by at the time. It was a case of you would rent the console from Blockbuster and you'd try it for yourself. And at the time, to me, the Saturn with the demo disc I had, as well as a copy of Sega Rally. There was Alien Trilogy, there was Tomb Raider as launch games. Knights was in the pipeline, and that was being demoed at the time. And these games all looked absolutely fantastic. And we all thought in my family, yeah, the Saturn's definitely the better machine. What we didn't realise, and what we now know later, sort of having YouTube at our disposal of the internet, was the Saturn's hardware was exceptionally complex compared to the Sony PlayStations, and as it turned out, third-party developers didn't want to go through the extra effort to code games for it, so most of the games were licensed by Sega and done in-house, while there are a lot of very good quality games for the Saturn. It never took off like the PlayStation did, which really sort of rewrote the rules for the home gaming market. But I still, to this day, enjoy pulling out my Saturn controller, which I'm really broken 3 shoulder buttons and D-pads failing, as well as having the Saturn in pieces on more than one occasion to clean it out and change capacitors, because this hardware is not well put together. But nonetheless, I still enjoy getting this Saturn out and playing on it on quite a regular basis. Alien Trilogy still gives me the willies. Knights is still a hell of a trip. So, in the long run, for a console that is not 20 years old, it has served me quite well. And I do to this day enjoy playing on it. And we're not doing too badly. 6th by the end of the forest stage. That's not great, but that's a good run. So anyway, back to Sega Rally. Sega Rally, as I said earlier, was a mind-blowing game for me. Fully 3D. I'd seen it in the arcades, so we'd go to the bowling alley, and there'd always be the Sega Rally machine there, and it looked beautiful. Now, it's quite clear that the graphics were heavily downscaled for the home market. That's not even a see-through window there, that's a mesh on the polygon. That's how downscaled. At least you had a translucent texture on the polygon for the windows in the arcade. And pop-up is a real problem. And to be honest, as you'll see when we come to the later games, that's continued through all Sega racing games, pop-up of scenery. there's something about the engine they use that is just, it's great, and it's always the textures are always rich and detailed, but the draw distance is awful. Pop-up is a real problem. Wow, you vicious mother. As you can see, sort of as we approach each turn, the scenery is popping up and all over the place. The tiles for the backdrops are popping in. That has always been the thing. You can really only see to the next turn, and even then sometimes like now, not really even the next turn. Well, a third place finish I'd say is respectable. But still, even at the home market, this was jaw-dropping. This was beautiful, this game. I played so many hours trying to unlock Lakeside, and then later on trying to, because I'd heard on the rumour mill that there was a third car. What I didn't realise was to get the Lancia Stratos, you needed to input a cheat code at the main menu, which I'll show you now before I switch over to the Dreamcast. Yes, we get it, game over. So, if you go to the main menu, and on your SAT controller press X, Y, Z, Y, X, then go into Arcade or Time Attack, pick your game mode, go to the far left or far right, and you'll have the Lancia Stratos unlocked. Now, if I believe that code also allowed you in Time Attack mode to select the Stratos and the Lakeside track, which the Lakeside track you could unlock by beating the game and finishing first by mounting, and then you get the extra stage, and that works on the arcade as well. The Stratos, on the other hand, I think you had to beat the game on hard and finish first, which was near damn impossible in the original cars. Nonetheless, let's move on, and we'll fire up the Dreamcast by the power of a magical switch. It's almost like the console was already connected somehow to one TV and one capture card. So, as it's quite clear there, I am playing on original hardware. These are my consoles that I have set up. I actually have, let me see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 consoles out of 12. My Atari 2600, 13, because my Atari 2600 and my GameCube are in storage at the moment, until I have time to sort them out. I do have these all hooked up through a switch. Part of the reason I haven't gone through SCART or VGA, because RCA was common, or the 3-pin, the white, the red, yellow, it was really common at the time. All these consoles were about up until the HDMI era, really. These are then through an upscaler into... I'm going to pick something different this time. I'm going to go with a Corolla. These are all then into a HDMI upscaler, into a HDMI switch, and then finally into my TV, allowing me to just turn the console on, select the console, and play. Anyway, moving on in the history of Sega Rally, we're now on to the Dreamcast, the 128-bit era, and you'll see once we get to the race, there are a lot of graphical improvements. The models are detailed, the windows actually look like glass now. The game on the whole is actually very, very pretty for the era. I'm sure I'm wrong, I'm probably very wrong, but I believe Sega Rally was one of the launch titles for Dreamcast, and it was there to show off sort of the 3D rendering power of the Dreamcast over the competition at the time, which was still the PlayStation 1 just, but the PlayStation 2 was sharp on the horizon. But one thing that is noticeable is there's no fog trying to hide loading, and you can just see in the distance models being rendered in. Again, a real problem with the Sega racing engines was pop-up of textures, not textures, sorry, pop-up of scenery, and even the track itself. And that was a terrible, terrible start. Nonetheless, we'll persevere. Another thing that was great about the graphical improvements on this one, the cars looked a lot more realistic compared to the Saturn, but you also had dirt, so if you went through puddles or you were off-roading, dirt would appear on the car. Which was a really new concept at the time, at least it was for me. I went from the Saturn to the N64 to the Dreamcast. When the Dreamcast got discontinued, I also got myself a PlayStation 2. I stuck with PlayStation 2 all the way through until 2007 when I was finally stable in a new job and I could afford an Xbox 360, and then I had an Xbox 360 all the way through to the release of the Xbox One. So, while I started on PlayStation as in this sort of modern era of gaming, definitely it's the Xbox that won me over from my console, and I've always had a PC during this time and been big into using my PC for strategy games. I'll be honest, and I know I'll offend people by saying this, but I've always found consoles easier to play first-person shooters on. Possibly because I prefer to just sit back and enjoy it rather than be sat bolt upright at a desk playing on a PC. And I know you can use a control pad on a PC, but it's just not the same. Not for me anyway, and I've timed out, probably because I was talking too much. So anyway, that was the Dreamcast's Sega Rally. I know I didn't get to show much and I was talking all the way through, but that is the Dreamcast, which I spent quite a bit of time playing on that because I heard rumours of Ford Escorts and things you could unlock, and I really enjoyed Sega Rally on the Dreamcast, and I was always trying to push for that extra half a second. What I'll move on to now then is the Xbox 360. Hopefully my video is not going to play nice here. Let's see if I can restart my capture card. Bear with me one moment, you kind viewers. And it seems like we've got the same problem where either my upscaler or my capture card has decided that it doesn't want to show the whole screen. It's only going to show us the top left corner. Maybe we can change one setting here. I think we've got a winner. There we go. Excellent. So let's continue on then to Sega Rally. Now, Sega Rally for the Xbox 360 was a reboot in terms of it didn't continue as a Sega Rally 3. It wasn't Sega Rally 2006, which I know was released for the Japanese market and possibly the American market, which was for the PlayStation 2. Sega Rally here was a complete reboot, and it actually dropped some of the arcadey side of Sega Rally, so Sega. It went a lot more realistic looking. One of its big things and its big selling point, and the thing that Sega Rally prided itself on was its track deformation. So as you were driving along, especially on the dusty and the wet, the cars would actually carve, and you'll see it in a moment as we go through the first Amateur League Championship. Let's go in the Citroen Zara, which I've not driven yet. So the cars would carve tracks in the dirt, and these tracks would actually give you more grip and would pull your car towards the racing line. And this was revolutionary for the Xbox 360. Nothing had been done like this before there. It was seen before in Four Wheel Thunder, at least in my experience. Four Wheel Thunder on the Dreamcast did do this. And looking at the box for Four Wheel Thunder that's right in front of me, which was a Midway game, this was new. But obviously the Dreamcast died a very quick death, so that disappeared quickly. Anyhow, going back, you'll see the visuals, and this was 2006, are stunning. Even now, these visuals are beautiful. So fair play to Sega. If they carried on in the console market and pushing things like this out, I think they could have been well back before. The other difference as well, you'll notice in the championship now there's no arcade timer. We're not competing against the clock as well as the token other racer. These other racers are actually racers, they're not just cars driving on the same track as you. You are racing against others now. Your co-driver isn't as detailed anymore, which is disappointing. He doesn't give you a distance to turn. It's still handy knowing what's coming up, but it's definitely not as detailed as it used to be in that respect. Now, I remember when this came out, and I remember playing it for the first time, and it does hit a nice balance between very arcadey Ridge Racers, and now we'll see the track deformation with all the wheel ruts in the road. As I was saying, sorry, this game for me struck a nice balance between the arcadey gaming of Ridge Racer, where you slide around everything sideways, put on tarmac with road tyres, which would just end in death, and then the realistic nature of Sega GT, in fact, on the original Xbox, and games such as Forza and Gran Turismo. Sega Rally for me was this nice happy balance. We did have the problem still though of scenery popping up, not so much because of the power of the Xbox, but it's that engine again. If you look closely at the track especially, you'll just see textures popping in, trees popping up every now and again. Not as bad as it was on the Saturn at least, which I should hope so considering the quantum leap in hardware between now and then, or even the Xbox and then. But we've still got some scenery popping up in the distance as we drive around. Try hard mode a little bit, then I'll go quiet. So just want to provide some decent gameplay footage. Easy right, easy left. Easy right, maybe. Easy left. And to make up for my absolutely diabolical excuse for a drive on the Dreamcast. Probably my fault for not putting on easy mode. When you haven't played a game in 10 years or so, that happens. So it should be really clear now, the track deformation going on there. You can see all these ruts, and every single car makes these, including the NPC cars. You see my car driving through one, nearly bottoming out. And they are permanent for that race, so once a car has carved a track, it's there, and it's not going. I think even Four Wheel Thunder, you had the tracks while you were following cars, but they would disappear at the end of each lap. Which was nice, but it wasn't quite what Sega Rally did on the Xbox 360. I'm surprised this game didn't sell as well as it could have done, because it, for me, was a brilliantly fun racer. And I used to love playing online. Which unfortunately I don't think works anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if the servers have been shut down completely for this. Maybe one to add to retro decks. If console dedicated server software was easy to come by. Another thing on this one, especially with the Saturn, with the Dreamcast not so much, but with the Saturn, water didn't really hold much of a penalty. Here, it's a blessing and a curse, because as you see there, it washes the dirt. It will wash the dirt off your car, however, it does slow you down quite considerably, as does a terrible power slide like that. So, you've got to make a decision. Do you want a clean car for the finish line, or do you want to actually finish? That's the difference sometimes between going through the water or not.
Long, easy left. Easy right. Easy left. Easy left. Long, medium right.
That was a nice slide. Grip. Something that was pioneered in the Dreamcast Sega Rally and then carried over to this one was different road surfaces having different grip. Notice I don't really drift as prominently on tarmac as I do on, say, loose gravel and mud. You slide, and you slide. Steering sort of becomes a secondary thing to just going with it. Which it definitely adds an element of depth to the game compared to the Saturn, where you just slid. You could power slide around every corner perfectly, whereas now you have to actually consider what sort of terrain you're driving on, and definitely the track deformation adds an element of strategy to that. Do you stick with the path that's been travelled and it actually helps your car gain a bit more grip and you can go a little bit faster that way around the corners, or do you cut your own path and pray that crossing over these ruts in the road doesn't throw you off track, especially if you've got a good slide lane and the car starts bouncing like there over these tracks. The same applies on the roads as well. The cars will leave rubber on the road, and that rubber does provide an extra bit of grip when you're trying to take a tight corner. Why have I not taken this Citroen Zara out? This is a cracking car. Shame the drivers are utterly terrible.
Long, medium left. Right.
I'll just hit every puddle on the way round, give them a chance to catch up. Now, another controversial statement, but I honestly believe the car models in this game they still hold a candle up to maybe not the level of Grand Theft Auto 5, but they're damn close. Definitely Grand Theft Auto 4, which came a good few years after Sega Rally. So it just shows when Sega put their minds to it, they really can make some beautiful games. I think the problem lies in their marketing. I know this was said a lot on the Dreamcast. If they were to up their marketing levels to the levels of their competitors, Sega could once again be the powerhouse they were in the early 90s. And it's a real shame that they've just become this third-party developer that pushes out the occasional good game, but then a hell of a lot of crap. Let's not forget Sonic 2006, which was released at a similar time to this, and we all know what an absolute travesty that game was. At least they kind of made up for it with Sonic Generations recently. I thoroughly enjoyed Sonic Generations, apart from when they tried to touch on the modern era of Sonic. but at least the first 6 levels where we were going through classic Sonic levels in 3D and in 2D, they were highly enjoyable. Especially seeing remastered Robotnik battles. That was a real trip down memory lane for me. I think that's almost had a part to play in pushing me towards retro gaming. Especially the older era Sonics, where I played Sonic Generations, then went back and played all 3 Sonics on the Mega Drive, as well as Sonic & Knuckles add-on, and then put Sonic Spinball in, and before I knew it I had spent a lot of money on retro games. Maybe not as much as they're actually worth, but I'd spent quite a lot. Hopefully I'll be able to push past this guy later. This track definitely provides something that Sega Rally didn't really do as well, which was the road stages. You now see the cars sliding around a hell of a lot less. I've actually got a clean car at the moment. And then even though I'm still on road here, it's kind of a gravel road, so the car has a bit less traction, and then we hit the mud. And once again we can see rods in the road from the cars that are driven over here. It's a real shame. Sometimes you'll power slide perfectly like there. You'll be in the ruts in the road, and the car will just power, and then you'll get the slide just ever so slightly wrong. Jump out of the deformation and smash into a wall. Lap on this Alpine stage. I think later on one of the Alpine stages does actually mirror the forest stage from the original Sega Rally, and I know there was rumouring of a DLC including the classic tracks. I think there is a full classic track that can be unlocked later on in the game, which I think they've missed a trick there. I think all 3, 4 even, original Sega Rally track should have been in here somewhere, remade in glorious HD. But seeing as though I've not long got this game back, I can't actually remember where it is. But maybe I'll save that for a video for another time. That was terrible. See the extra grip there afforded by the tyre tracks. And there we go. The Xbox 360 Championship finished. And with that, I will be ending this video there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment. Every little bit helps. Oh, I've unlocked a new paint library. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, please comment on another video. I could make a history of a series, and if you do want another one, I promise you it'll be a bit more scripted and a bit more professional rather than me just babbling along. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.